Well, I was 8 minutes into the video and I got a phone call and I wasn't quite done. So now I guess I got to do the whole thing over. But the phone call was about the same thing that this other person had asked me. And at one time today, silver was down like a buck 80, and they were wondering it was like $39.02 or something if they should go in and buy on the dip. And my problem was that I couldn't say yes or no because the economy is in such a terrible place. Um, we might see well, we've seen all commodities dip. Petroleum today was $84 a barrel. Gold was down $34. Um, and we're seeing it simply because the American consumer is in such bad shape. Two-thirds of the entire economy of the United States is based on the American consumer. And when the American consumer is in trouble, the whole world's in trouble because we represent 25% of the consumption of the entire world, and we're a little just a little bit less than 5% of the world population. So we're when we get in trouble, then the whole world's in trouble because it means less exports from Canada, from China, from India. So the whole world suffers when we suffer. Now we're suffering because we're because of the credit default swaps and everything else, but uh, we won't get into that. We'll just talk about the commodities. So long as the commodities, as the consumer now is starting to pay down debt, which is a good thing in normal conditions, but a terrible thing in a wrecked economy because you're not creating any jobs. If you're not spending any money, there there is all the appliances and all are sitting in the stores and not flying off the shelves, so they're not being replaced. And as they sit on the shelves and inventory builds up, then people get laid off. But the same thing's happening with municipalities. And the problem is that at they say 9%, but it's probably much greater than that, the unemployment rate. But now, because of tax revenues are way down, the federal government's going to start laying people off. The post office is going to close 3,000 offices. The Bank of America just announced they're going to fire or lay off, they call it, 30,000 people, and all those people will go and go in and collect unemployment, which they have a right to because they've been paying in it for years and years and years. And that's what it is for. It's to give you a crutch till you can get back working. But the problem is, once the crutch runs out, there aren't any jobs out there for these people to take. And one of the first signs of it is the fact that dollar stores now are threatening Walmart because it used to be when a super Walmart come into a town, two chain grocery stores would close down because they couldn't compete. And why couldn't they compete? Because they were union jobs and the checkout people were making 20, 22 bucks an hour, and they had decent benefits, they had health care, and they also had a pension plan. Now all those people are put out of work, like Pathmark and Vineland went out because Walmart uh, opened up a super Walmart, and they couldn't compete with the grocery prices because of the ability of Walmart to force its suppliers. They tell them what they're going to pay instead of vice versa. So you'll go into like our local store ShopRite, and you see a bunch of young guys and a bunch of young girls behind the cash registers, whereas in the other stores you always saw older people in their 50s and 30s and 40s, etc., because they were union workers and they had some job protection. But all you go into to all the grocery stores that are still surviving, and they're all very young people there. Not that they're not friendly, and not that they're not efficient, and not that they're not good people, but they're all under contracts in which none of them get 40 hours a week work. None of them, hardly any of them are getting any benefits, and they're working for just above minimum wage. And that's the conundrum we're in because commodity until the American consumer gets buying it and the rest of the world, the only bright hope is that India and China, their middle class becomes so strong that they become nations where internal consumption out is greater than exports, and then their economies will become more stable and they'll continue to grow, and then hopefully they might actually get to a point where they might be in a position to import some more American goods. The whole world likes American goods. Don't think that they don't like made in America. What they don't like is the fact that often made in America requires huge tariffs from other countries and prevents America from competing on a level scale. But as far as the price of silver today, let's get back to the main topic, is that I couldn't recommend one way or the other. And the phone call that I got in the middle of the last tape I was trying to make was somebody that wanted to know if I wanted to buy some 40% uh, uh, Kennedy half dollars, and I'm really not a fan of 40% anything. I prefer 90%, and I'm not sure. Well, I probably would have if he had 90%ers. I probably would have bought them today. But uh, as long as the commodities are being hit, and copper's the lowest it's been in a couple of years, uh, and as I said, petroleum's was down to $84 a barrel, is because the consumer just isn't buying, and until the consumer buys, it'll be interesting to see at the end of the year. Last year was the first year that industrial use of silver exceeded all other uses. It was 54%, and it'll be interesting to see if it maintains itself above 50%. But the good thing about silver is that there's less and less in the ground, and whether or not the 300 million ounces that this year will be needed from sterling and melt of coins and from bullion, whether that uh, holds above what is being mined is the overriding question on what silver is going to do in the long term. Now, if we look a couple of years down the road, then we're running out of mineable silver, and within 7 or 8 years there will be no, unless great new sources of silver are found, which is highly unlikely, there will be no silver in the ground. Then that silver you're holding is going to be worth a lot. So on that premise, then it's a buy at any price for the next year or two. But as whether or not today's dip is warrants jumping into the market or not, I really don't I really couldn't say, because of the issues that are going on mainly in Europe, and all commodities are slipping. So I couldn't help. Sorry, that's the best. You know, that's the best I can do, because, uh, as I said, the economy, as the economy tries to recover, it doesn't stand a chance, because housing is going to. They said it'll be 4 years before they finish with foreclosures, so the housing market won't turn around for 4 years. So that leaves people stuck in the homes they are in because they can't sell them. So they got no mobility. It used to be you could sell your house and and move to California if that's where the jobs were, or you could move to Las Vegas, or you could move to Phoenix. But now you can't move at all because you can't sell your house. If you don't sell your house, you don't have any credit to buy a house where you go, or to rent, or do anything else. So until the economy turns around, the economy can't turn around until consumers spend, and consumers aren't going to spend as long as they're worried about losing their jobs, and more people are losing their jobs. So it's a very dim outlook for the next couple of years.